Hello, friends. Welcome to the Tell It Like It Is podcast. I'm your host, Alexi Bailey, and I have a very special guest today, Joseph.
What's up, man?
Yeah, man, Joseph, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man, no worries.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about the podcast, right? I think my goal for the podcast is like life's happening, we're all experiencing it. And I kind of feel like at different times I feel different things, but sometimes we take each other for granted. Everyone's rushing, trying to pay bills, rushing to their next appointment.
Yeah.
And, they're not taking life in for what it is.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I really use the podcast to kind of give my spiel, and because people are moving so fast, they don't even have time for the podcast, right? Like, who has time to sit down and watch some guy talk about whatever he's talking about? So it's one of these things, right? But all we can do is try. So I think for me, the message is to take time, listen to yourself, be in nature, be authentic, be organic, connect with people.
Yeah.
And just live the way we're supposed to live,
Totally.
Most people, I feel like there's a big movement of people now who are, because it's not even their fault, right? They're trying to keep up with the machine to pay bills and so they're like running.
And meanwhile, the machine keeps raising rent,
Exactly. So this thing's happening. And like at this point, I think most of us can agree that we kind of all, yeah, I see it too. But at the end of the day, we're not doing enough to dismantle it. We're not doing enough to address it. And with the free time that we have, a lot of us are too burnt out to really do something about it. So I try to make statements and I try to say hey guys, let's be different. And we all can't, most people are not prepared to live off the land or, change anything. But my whole thing is, well, when you're not working, when you do have free time, are you connecting? And
right.
are you really doing the things that you should be doing to give balance? Yeah. And some people are and some people aren't. So I highlight people who I think is doing the work. And I try to remind people that the work, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we can also change it. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, this is just the way it is. I'm just one person. I can't.
There's a lot of hopelessness around,
Right.
And that's the weight that so many people feel, It's like you just have to have the courage to fully be yourself, no matter what anybody tells you.
Right.
If you feel it in your heart, it's real.
Right. That's a big one. If you feel it, it's real. That's all the validation you need. A lot of people have been taught to not value themselves and oh, are you sure? Self-doubt, is a big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do. The podcast, I don't necessarily think, oh, I hope to go viral. I mean, I do hope to go viral, but I'm not, this doesn't fit in the box of what viral is.
You never know, man. I mean, that's the thing about, videos going viral. It's like, let's change the narrative on that, because I feel like the silliest things are going viral. It's like,
exactly. It's kind of silly stuff, and I don't want to say not intentional, but just small things that don't have the bigger, so that's why but yeah, you're right. You never know. And, but I use the opportunity to have the conversation, and I've had a lot of meaningful conversations offline. And I felt like if I could capture this, it could have value to someone else down the road. And just be a time capsule, just to remind ourselves that we were here. And, a lot of people feel like what we're going through is unique or it's an accident. And I'm like, this is very intentional. We have to do something to reclaim our humanity.
Yeah.
And live the way we should live, the way we want to live. and not just be pushed around by the machine and that kind of thing. It's interesting to me because a lot of people just they feel it, but they don't even talk about it anymore. They don't even like. It's just like
I'm more into doing
right,
than talking.
right,
That's
right.
why it's like I've always been better at just just that.
Yeah, right.
But man, that's the thing. It has to be talked about in order for people to realize it's happening. Because otherwise, the day just goes on like any other day, and people get stuck in this cycle of it's like passive aggressiveness. Just like total apathy, which is the last thing anybody needs. We need empathy now.
Well, what scares me is that there's a lot of people with a lot of money who's really miserable.
That's right.
And so it's not like oh, money is the way out, kind of thing. I think we need to get into mind spaces that we have to find the right mind space to live.
Yeah.
So regardless of where you're at in life, if you get into the wrong mind space, you can spiral down a dark hole and just live there. So I try to do this for hope, to remind myself and others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, man, I'm 23, and I grew up around Princeton. I'm
What school
an
you went to?
artist. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
You
What
know?
schools did you go to?
I actually went to St. Paul's Catholic in grade school.
I have no idea where that is.
It's right on Nassau.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I
Okay.
went to PHS.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from there?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
year was that?
2017.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I know you play the guitar. So when did you start playing?
Probably when I was around like 7 or 8. It's like
Nice. Professionally taught or?
I had a couple lessons, but for the most part, man, it's just me listening to records and like
Nice.
figuring out like
Nice.
different ways of playing and stuff. Yeah, and just jamming with other people. I remember I went to this Rock 101 thing at what's it? School of Rock.
Yeah.
Right off Quaker Ridge Road.
Nice.
So that was cool. That when I was younger, just yeah, man, music's always been therapy for me.
Yeah.
Like it was always there.
Yeah.
When nobody else was, or
Yeah.
whatever. It's just an outlet, and that creative outlet comes in so many different forms and mediums. When you tap into that, it's like you feel it.
something.
You feel it more.
Yeah. I think at this point I've gotten to a place where I talk about spirit, and we're all spirit. And I think when you start to live in the physical material world, you can get detached from spirit.
Mm.
And then there's unique things that can bring us back to the spirit, whether it's nature, music, all of those things brings us back to the spirit. And spirit is something you can't put into words, or you don't have to put into words, because we're all spirit. It's in there. Yeah. So private school, were you with your parents?
Yeah, they sent me there. Both my siblings went there.
Yeah.
So they
You're the
thought it'd be a
oldest or
good
the
idea.
youngest?
I was the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But man, it's like honestly, it's like prison school.
Conformity.
For somebody who just wants to, be in nature.
Yeah.
I always loved the woods as a kid too. Just being out there.
Right. I mean,
It's just like schools need to give children a chance to choose for themselves who they want to be.
Right.
Instead of just being told, oh, these are your options.
Right. Right. I mean, absolutely. I think school can box us in, tell you this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. And there's many different ways to solve the problem, right? And they're like, no, this is how you do it. Follow this, and it's very scripted.
Mm.
So you felt something early on. It sounds like.
Yeah, man, definitely a rebellious spirit of
Yeah.
some sort, but
Right.
it's just like a feeling that something isn't, something isn't right almost. You know, but with the world, I mean, and within ourselves, it's all about purifying so that we can get back to that state of oneness
Right.
with everything.
Right. Yeah. Life is a journey. I mean, I think life is a journey. We're here to learn, not learn. We're here to experience ourselves, experience living, which has a lot to do. And if you're boxed up early on, it can restrict your experience.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's right. People put limits on other people.
Right.
And they're doing it to themselves too. It's just like a cycle. One person does it to somebody, they do it to somebody else. It's
Right.
like, let's make like love and kindness. Let's get that cycle going. Just with every interaction.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think it's one of those things, right? I think because we have bills to pay, it's like, yeah, I want to stay in love and kindness, but I have bills also.
Right.
So it's that balance. And I think a lot of people get lost in that balance, and that's where the depression comes in.
Yeah.
Right? There's three ways to go. You can either conform so much and do very well, conform just enough to survive and keep your humanity, or you can totally rebel and say, I don't want to play that system game. Yeah. There's something really off about it, and I'm comfortable saying that. 40 hours a week is a lot of hours to be trapped in a building because you have a job to do to earn money. And, there's not a lot of alternatives for you to go in that, you're either working full-time, part-time, or not working. So it's hard to kind of make your way in that kind of scope.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of different jobs, landscaping, construction, moving jobs,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff, and music. It's just like, just to be like, and not have any like pressing obligation.
What kind of work did your parents do?
Oh man, who cares?
No? Okay. I mean, so
we were pretty well off and wealthy, like when I was a little kid, and we moved to Princeton.
yeah.
Things change, man, but we grow.
Yeah. I'm assuming, so walk me through. You graduated high school. What'd you do next?
Yeah, after high school, man, I just went straight. I was already doing music, I was like skipping classes just to go play guitar, man, and write songs. So that's what I kept doing. Kept working, landscaping.
Did you stay in the area?
Write songs, and recorded. Taught myself how to produce music. And started recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So,
when did you leave Princeton?
A few years ago. My sense of time is just like,
yeah.
So
when you left Princeton, I know you told me you went to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at some point after graduating, you went to LA?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was good, man. It was a really cool experience. Things could have definitely happened differently,
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason, man.
You tell me, Joe. How do you? I'll tell you what. When we spoke before, I got the sense that you're unconventional, right? And I think that a lot of us just stay in this conventional path, right? Because either they're afraid of what unconventional looks like, or how to just be unconventional.
They don't know anything different than what they're doing.
Yeah,
You gotta open their mind first.
exactly.
We have to open our minds.
Exactly.
Because if we're closed-minded, we're not allowing ourselves to receive like
What the universe is trying to give to us.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't have all the answers, you know. I'm just interested in this thing that we, you know, it's a shared experience we call life that we're having. And
Totally.
like we're talking about breaking that script and going off script and living the life the way you want and figuring out ways to kind of do it, you know. Is there anything you've learned on the journey, like, you know, whether it's from mistakes or just stuff you figured out?
Man, just always, putting yourself out there and like just those uncomfortable situations are usually the ones where you grow the most. They're always the ones where you grow the most. You know?
Yeah.
It's like that's where you really test everything you've learned are in those uncomfortable situations.
Now you feel like you're growing in what direction?
All directions.
But I mean,
Total expansion.
yeah. I mean, growing from. I'm just trying to get you to put your experience into words, like growing.
That's the thing, man. It's words, they're
Material.
They're not. I mean, not necessarily. It's just like, yeah. I mean, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth? Then how much is the human experience?
Yeah. It's hard to put into words sometimes, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I hope for is, a society where we can all coexist.
Yes.
Not
peacefully.
Not everyone can be corporate. Not everyone can sustain the high income communities that we're building up. So what ends up happening is people get left behind, and some people say like, okay, I don't want to conform to that. Like there's a whole movement right now, no man's land. Do you know this? Like,
tell me more.
People who are like buying RVs, traveling across the country. Like it's an alternative to the corporate lifestyle. But the American dream is saving to buy a home, and a mortgage is like a death contract that takes 30 plus years. Literally, that's what the word mortgage means. It's a death contract. So it takes 30 plus years to pay off, and you work for 10 years to get to that point to save up.
Student loans and all that.
Right.
It's just they're tacking on the bills one by one. It's like we can learn how to do these things by ourselves and reach out to our neighbors for resources.
Coexist.
Coexist peacefully.
Yeah.
Instead of going corporate.
Yeah. I mean, I think, we got into a point now, it's expensive. Like a one bedroom anywhere is at least $1,000. Plus now you need a job, you need a vehicle to get to work. Plus, sustaining your eating, you need, it's a big thing.
Yeah, man. That's why I've been living out of my car since November.
I think
one of the reasons, at least.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
This thing is complicated.
But I tell you, when you get back to simple living with no distraction, just you're totally immersed in whatever it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the meditation, man. It's
right.
Like all the time.
Yeah.
And just being able to just like sleep in nature pretty much, and wake up there and just like it allows you, it's the space that allows you to breathe and get back to your roots.
Be in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Native Americans, they lived outside, you know. I mean, they made living shelter, but they lived in nature,
Yeah.
you know, and they weren't being charged rent. You know, this idea of I own the land, you have to pay me to live on it. That's a major that's a major dynamic that affects our society. You know, if there's plenty of open land, and if you want to go live on it, you know, at some point the police are going to come and give you a hard time. You know, it's this idea of no, someone owns that, you're trespassing. Like this, this, this planet is now owned by people, and if you're not paying rent, you're trespassing as a human being on planet Earth, and that automatically disrupts you from coexisting because now police is forced to do a job, and now you have to go like it's open land, just leave people alone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is a real thing. Like I'm from Jamaica, West Indies, we talked about it before, and in Jamaica people they capture land. That means it's open land, you capture, and those kinds of things are, it's not accepted, you know, it's still like an outcast kind of move. I mean, I think in places like Jamaica, it's more laid back than here. But my point is, this idea of like, you can't just go out there and claim this land, cut down a few trees and build a house and live there. It's like, no, no, no. This is a forest, you know, that we have these selected spaces where we can live and you have to pay to live there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're kind of boxed in. And a lot of us just kind of go along with that in a way that's in a way that feels like you're a slave. You know, you're born into this slavery. Like you don't own anything, so you have to pay rent, so you have to work, and you have to go to school, and you have to have a job. And
It's really just the not knowing that there are sustainable alternatives to that, you know?
yes,
Once you open people's eyes, once people open their eyes to what, you know, different ways of living and
yeah,
seeing that life can be much more simpler and so much more sweet when you fucking just live simply,
yeah.
you know?
I feel like people know it's out there, but there's a fear, right? I
Yes.
think there's this, well, if I live out in the woods, is the police gonna protect me? You know, like there's so much fear out there. If I live out in the woods, where am I gonna get money from? You know, like there's just this fear. So most of us are kind of taught
Fear
fear,
is the killer, man.
yeah, to stay on this beaten path and stay in this box, you know. Um, yeah, so I think, you know, there's been conversations about universal basic income. Um, basically, everyone getting a check just for existing.
Wow, that's a hell of an idea.
Well, that's where it's a part of the political conversation right now. And
There's plenty of people that could use it, that's for sure. It's like, but it's more than money, man. You know, it's like the problem goes deeper than that.
yeah,
You know?
what do you mean? You mean like you saying if
Like
we
if the
have
system is broken, so what if they give everybody some money? You know,
right
people
and a place to live? I mean,
yeah, you know, it's like you said, it's just the money just keeps getting funneled back into the system. It's like whatever.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Some countries, I think in Europe somewhere, have more research to do. They have some version of this. It's basically like a welfare system kind of thing.
Right on.
And a lot of people are currently already against welfare. So this would be like welfare on the next level.
I don't feel any kind of way about it, man. You know, if it's something that really helps people, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
You know, I've just never been one to rely on, you know, the government for income or anything like that.
yeah,
I've always been against that. You know?
yeah. Um,
But I mean, I'm not against anybody
yeah.
else. If it helps people, it's like.
So yeah,
Whatever.
basically the idea.
But that's the thing is the system wants you dependent on it. So
I think that's what. Yeah.
So that you just keep coming back for
Right.
more, and you're helpless in a emergency situation.
Right. Universal basic income means we give you just enough to survive, but you're still on our land, you're still buying our products. It's not a check so you can go live free. It's a check so you can stay in the system and just enough to kind of say that we're humane. We gave you a check, You can buy someone healthy food with the check kind of thing. Yeah, I think so. Basically, with corporations becoming more and more the productivity and having so much profits, and things being so, there will be less and less jobs for people. So with less jobs, there's less opportunity for you to earn money. So we're gonna have to
That
give
with the inflation is just it's a total killer, man. Like,
yeah.
And it just keeps rising.
Right.
So I think there's a awakening happening on a mass level because it needs to happen. Like, with darkness, it needs the light to
Right.
combat it.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Have you felt it? Have you seen it, or are you just hopeful?
I feel it, man. I'd say some people say hope is just a 4-letter word, but I think what people mean when they say hope is faith.
Right. Right. I definitely have faith in humanity. I do think that spirit within us all, it's, you can kind of, it's like a rebellious team. You can be a rebellious team, but at some point you kind of get the hang of life and you kind of understand your place in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And as the generations go on, inevitably we're going to get better.
Yes.
I think so. Do you have a plan? I ask everybody that.
Riding the wave, man.
Yeah.
And also just, preparing for anything.
What kind of experiences did you have with your music in terms of the reception?
It was good reception and, no reception at some gigs. That's how it is. I played tons of gigs where there's nobody there. But then it's so much more worth it. Like when there's people who actually care about the music that are there to enjoy themselves.
What kind of messages do you have in your music?
Well, I tell you what, man. I'll play you this new song that I just wrote the other day.
All right.
Yeah. But my music now is much more uplifting than it was before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about this. Sit and wake up. Gotta do thanks and praise. Cause tomorrow's never promised. Dreams they drift away. Ain't got nobody else but myself to blame. But baby, when I'm with you, I know you feel the same. Reaching for a higher plane. Breaking free from all restraints. It's good vibrations, rain or shine. We can have a grand old time. Forever won't you blow my mind one more time. And we'll ride. rising up to new heights. We're bound to take flight, standing up for our human rights. We come here in peace, but we fear no fight. The darkness will never break the light. Wow, wow, that was very powerful, man. Yeah, yeah. You know what? We may have to do some more gigs to get the music. Yeah, I don't know how the library is gonna go, but somewhere else. I mean, yeah, yeah, man. Listen, it's a journey. Yeah, I really try to be, you know, I think that's what you're saying, going off the beaten path and like being in tune with life experience and listening to that voice inside, you know? And I feel like there's a lot of pushback with that, you know, like if you say you're listening to a voice inside, you're crazy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pushback. If you're like, well, if you don't want to work, you know, the 40-hour thing, then you're lazy. And, you know, it's a lot of labels. You're right, exactly. And because of fear, most people go along with it. And the few who don't, they really suffer and they're really isolated and out there. You know, and I think that was Jesus's thing, where he was like, you know, the least among you are the chosen one, kind of thing. And I think people get it, but they don't understand how to get out. So yeah, I think conversations and moments like this are powerful, man. Absolutely. And that's why I'm passionate about the work. And I really appreciate you taking the time and trusting me with your story, man. And I really have no judgment, you know, because I think sometimes the ones who are able to, the ones who are able to sustain in this game are the most unhealthy ones. And the ones who fall out of the game are healthy. They realize there's something unhealthy in what we're doing. So they're like, I can't stay here. This is unhealthy. They hop out. But they're the ones who get the label. And the ones who stay in are the sicker ones. They're able to stay there. They continue to breed this. Yeah, it's a real thing. It is. Yeah. And the media fuels it. Just yeah, it's scary, you know. Take everything with a grain of salt, you know. Yeah, I still feel like sometimes we're heading to this dark place, you know, and the media kind of perpetuates that at the same time. Yeah. And most people just kind of live that like, oh, the world's ending soon. This isn't gonna get better, and I'm just gonna, you know. Not only that, but look at everything in pop culture. There's just like so much like darkness if you really look at it, man. Like, yeah. Things they're talking about, things they're doing, like yeah. It's all lust. Yeah. Yeah. It's polluting our sensibilities. Yeah. I think so. I said something about that, about it affecting the kids. Yeah. That's and real. I got a lot of pushback because it's supposed to be free expression. Well, I mean, that's freedom of expression is important. Yeah, yeah, exactly, but, exactly. Like, if you're just gonna be, freedom of expression is important. I'll leave it at that. No, but that's that. So basically, it was a really good conversation. And at the end, towards the end, I was saying that these artists, they specifically have a responsibility because your message is influencing the next generation. It's influencing what the kids are absorbing. So you have to make sure that you give a balanced message. You have to make sure that what you put out there is going to edify the spirit, you know? And you can't just make this one-dimensional toxic thing and say it's my expression.
and I think that's what you're saying. The media eats it up, and it's somewhat addictive. So we eat it up, even though we know it's not good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we gotta purify.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You're not really a talker.
Dude, I try, man.
Yeah.
I really do.
And I don't want to like make you uncomfortable.
No, I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I think at some point you made a decision, right? Like, how are your parents taking all of this? And like, how's your family reacting to?
Well, it's quite interesting. You know.
I mean, do you reach out to them? I mean,
yeah, of course, we're in touch.
Yeah.
It's it's my family. I love them.
Okay.
But
do you ever try to stay with them, or
there's definitely a barrier,
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm sure
it's just me just doing what I have to do to be who I am fully.
Yeah.
And it's like after a while, I realized they were just trying to conform me to who they wanted me to be.
Yeah. In the guise of
all the time.
In the guise of wanting to help you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but not seeing the full picture.
Yeah. I'm assuming that they're getting further along where they can say, "Hey, you can just live here with no expectations." Are they not there yet?
No. Well, I'm not even looking for that.
Yeah,
because I had lived, with my family for most of my life.
Right.
Right. I moved out for a bit and it was West Coast, and it's gonna be like touring the country and like all this, and then COVID hit and it just all went away.
Yeah. Did you drive back from the West Coast?
No, I flew.
Okay. So your car was waiting for you when you got back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Tell me about the West Coast. you were out there.
Yeah, man. Beautiful weather. Cool vibes. I was out in Joshua Tree recording with this really cool producer.
Nice.
And
I mean, listen, your Instagram's legit. Like you're out there. I mean, were you about to, were you trying to get a deal? Were you doing gigs?
Things were, really about to take off, I felt.
Yeah, but there's
the thing was though, was like I was still unhappy, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
I was, I was about to be living my dream, fucking doing all of it, being with the coolest people, and I was still miserable,
You have to conform.
So I had to embrace that, because like realizing you're doing what you love and you're still unhappy, then there's a problem, and there's just a lot of darkness and trauma that I hadn't faced.
Wow.
So I had to deep dive and really take a look at who I am and who we are.
Right.
Everything,
Yeah.
And so I needed it. I mean, COVID, is what it is, but
COVID pumped the brakes, basically. Is that what happened? Gotcha. So if there was no COVID, what did you have lined up, or how did COVID affect what you were trying to do?
Well, there would have been a hell of a lot more shows, that's for sure.
Okay, so you were getting ready to do more shows, and okay.
And
do they still have your album?
I haven't released it yet. Yeah.
But I mean, is it yours? Is it theirs? Like,
it's like a 50-50 deal.
Yeah. So what do they want to do with it?
That's the interesting thing. It's basically just sitting on the shelf.
Yeah. A lot of music is sitting in shelves right now. I mean, in general, a lot of music just gets lost in the hard drive, and good music. So it's just,
so
labels won't put music out if the artist isn't gonna push it.
Not only that, but if they don't have a guaranteed number of sales,
right? Exactly.
They won't even consider it.
Yeah. Do you have access to it, or do they have it?
I mean, I have access to it.
Yeah.
It's the music I wrote, you know.
Right. So you may not have what they recorded, but you have your songs and you know your songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You got to be careful with contracts.
Yeah.
And,
Come on.
man. You know, I was even doing like American Idol for a little bit.
Okay.
That was way back. I mean, before COVID and everything. But
Yeah.
man, just seeing how corrupt that whole thing is.
Yeah. It's
pretty,
business.
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah. If you're worried about corporate business, music is not the way. You know, people own your music. They can own your likeness. They can own your voice. You know.
Yeah, that was one. That was some of the contracts that was signing there.
Yeah. You have to be careful what you sign. You know, I think we've heard enough stories to kind of know, like, be careful. You know, but because when you want to achieve your dream, and so and so is gonna help you.
Some people will do anything for that.
Exactly.
And that's something I wasn't willing to do. You know, like I wasn't willing to conform to how they want me to be. You know.
Yeah.
It goes back to everything, you know. But I was blinded. I was blindsided. I was blinded by like, oh, you know, the dream. Yeah, it's right there. Like, why wouldn't I? But I feel like grassroots, you know, building it organically, community.
Yeah.
And you know, that's how it's done.
So you have no interest in being like a personality, like having a following. Like, what do you?
I mean, it's like, yeah.
Because I mean, we could set something up in Princeton, get you to play a show, you know?
Yeah, man, I was playing over at Positive Vibes for a bit.
Oh yeah,
it's a cool gig.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the Caribbean Jamaican restaurant in town.
Yeah.
I was actually there yesterday. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
I was very excited to have a
Jamaican
restaurant come to town.
Mm-hmm.
So did they pay you, or were you just doing some promo stuff?
You know, both.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. What do you want to do? I mean, I'm excited to. I would love to be a part of the journey and just to help you.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate you like reaching out and.
Yeah, man. This is life. Like you when opportunity and your ability to help someone or to just further the good work, I always take it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. There's the movie by Jim Carrey. I think it's called Yes Man. Where, you know this movie? Yeah, he had to say yes to everything. That's me. Like when people get placed in my path, I'm like, all right, how can I help your journey along? You know? And sometimes I shy away from it, you know, but I try.
Yeah.
And you
That's
never
all you
know.
can do.
Yeah, you know, you never know. You know, we're all meant to do something here. We're all created for a purpose.
Yes.
And the scary thing is a lot of us shy away from that and just stay cogs in this thing, you know? And I think it's empowering to like, find people who's trying and looking, you know? And I want to be in a community like that. I want to say to other people, like, hey, you're trying something, let me be a part of your thing. I'm trying something, be a part of my thing. And I think that's my goal, is to be in community with people who really get what's really important, you know?
Yeah.
Not just to check, like, oh, you know, I helped found you, so, you know, don't forget me. You know, that's not it. And I think that gets in the way of relationships. That gets in the way of
big time
of just putting good music out to people that's, you know, doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that has people owning land and saying you have to get off my land. It's the same concept. It's a Western concept.
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing, it's like self-reliance is key.
Yeah.
In all facets.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything you want to share with us specifically?
Man, just I'd like to say everything we've been talking about is, I resonate with.
Right.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, life, just enjoying the moment eternally
Yeah.
as much as you can.
So I think, I think we're all in a journey of learning to let go, right? We're born seeking the comfort of our mothers and warmth and full bellies and being clean and dry. And we grow and evolve into continuing to want security. And our desire for security leads us to do all these things that we're talking about. And at some point, I think the journey is about being able to let go and need less and less, right? You don't need a 6-bedroom house if you can go down to 4, go down to 2, and live needing less, smaller meals, like live more off the spirit and less leaning on the physical. I think that's a big part of life's journey. And I think, is that what resonates? I'm trying to put the...
Absolutely, man. I mean, you hit it right on the target.
Yeah. I had another guest on, and she was talking about earth ships. And earth ships are these kind of self-sustained houses that you build using garbage. And, you capture rainwater, your poop waters your food, and you basically, they're power
Wait,
cells.
what did you say?
Your poop,
it's
your earth ships. It's a real thing.
Yeah, man.
It's a real thing. It's in, I think,
it's a fertilizer.
Arizona, right? So the cells capture the sun, which gives you electricity. So there's these homes, you can buy them. You live in these homes. You capture the sun, you harness the rainwater, your poop's the fertilizer, so you get your farming there and the water, and you have electricity. And these are these kinds of self-sustainable homes. And there's this, legitimate architect who fought hard to build these communities, and he builds these homes for you. And so he's built over the years, I don't have his name memorized, but if you Google earth ships, it'll pop right up. He's built like all of these homes, and he's fought hard because, like I said, with the state was trying to fight him from building these self-sustainable homes. Like, why would you fight that? So it's one of those things where if you try to build one, don't quote me, but if you try to build one in New Jersey, there's stipulations against that. So this idea, he fought.
Surprisingly.
He fought to have the ability to build these, I think it's Arizona. So they're basically in a warm climate. So it insulates the heat. It cools from the heat during the day, and then it insulates it at night. So you have this balanced temperature and natural AC. Like,
that's cool.
This is the way we should be living, kind of thing, right? So again, I learned something from a guest. She lived all the way in Spain, and she knows about it. And she's like, this is my goal. And I think you were saying your goal is something like that, living,
self-sustainably.
Right, exactly.
I'd love to have some land, nice farm, grow my own food, and, have it be a place people can come and stay if need be.
Right. Right.
Just who knows, maybe even a commune.
Yeah.
You never know, man.
So right, so exactly, that's what we were talking about when we first met. That we hit on right away. One of the questions I asked you was, where would you like it to be ideally? You said you were still thinking about it, and I said for myself, I would like one of those, but I would like to live someplace where I don't have to worry about winter. Some place that's cool, not too hot. But I don't know, South Carolina. I just made up a place. Somewhere right in between. But I was saying to you, at some point, I still want to earn enough money so that I can still go on vacation.
No doubt.
I can still have my car. I can still fly to Europe and,
So it's not balanced.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to figure that out, and I think we're always going to need the cities. So I don't think we should destroy the cities, or I have nothing against cities. I think we just need a place where people like yourself can just say, I want to live off the land. Come here, do this amount of work. You can live here for the rest of your life. And that's the same idea of the universal basic income, is having alternative ways for people to sustain themselves.
Yeah.
And not having them be not criminalizing them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know, like they make it seem like it's so wicked, and really it's the most peaceful thing ever.
Yeah. Are you into yoga and meditation? And, yeah. I mean, I'm imagining going from a Catholic school, like there was a lot of indoctrination and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. You know, I was always in the principal's office.
What did you believe in Jesus at one point?
You know, I believe Jesus was a man.
Right.
I believe in the Holy Spirit.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the reason why I asked that is because I think, you know, some people have their journey of like, I was taught Christianity at a young age, but as I got older, I started looking, and I felt my spirit was calling me into other mindsets, other narratives, other religions. So they started exploring kind of.
Well, what I found is nature. I mean, nature is just so all encompassing, and religion it's very divisive, dividing. You know, um, there are some teachings that have knowledge,
Absolutely.
but you have to be willing to take a look at all of them. Not, you know, it's like, yeah, a lot of really wonderful, you know, knowledge has been suppressed
Absolutely.
because they don't want people to realize they have the power.
Questioning too much.
We, the people, have the power.
Straying outside the box.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. It's a big work. So one of the things I've learned is that you can't shake people and wake them up. People have to go looking for information to wake themselves up. Because if someone comes to you and they're like, hey, do you know that you're being indoctrinated and boxed into the, they're like, you know, they're going to resist that. I think we have to kind of let people come into it on their own. Yeah.
Breadcrumbs.
Exactly. Exactly. But I do think that I was born Christian and I grew up Christian. I think, like you said, there's a lot of truth in it.
Mm.
And I think that if you fully study it, it can help open up your spirituality. You know, so I don't believe that you need to necessarily abandon it, but I think there's also a cap. Like, this is what the scripture means, don't ask questions. This is what the scripture means, don't try to interpret anything else. Like, they give you the book and they say, like, this is what it means, stop there.
Right.
And
They demonize a lot of things that shouldn't be demonized.
absolutely. Absolutely. What does your days look like?
Every day is a new adventure, man.
Yeah. Have you done anything interesting, like unexpected?
Yeah, I mean, I just explore nature and meet up with different homies and play music and learn about the forest and just like how our ancestors used to live. You know,
Yeah.
it was in upstate New York,
Nice.
doing some foraging, and,
Nice.
kung fu.
Okay.
And,
Keeping physically active is very important. I think that helps you connect to the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta keep moving. Gotta stay loose.
Right.
You know, because we're only getting tighter as we age.
Exactly. I think I was reading somewhere that it was like a Western tradition that invented chairs. Like when you were sitting on the floor, you were a lot more flexible.
Right.
And when you start sitting on chairs on a regular basis, you're going to get stiffer, and it's going to restrict your body. So even just the act of sitting on a chair, it begins to let, because your body is the receptor of spirit. So the stiffer your body is, the less you're able to receive spirit and interact with spirit.
And feel it, yeah.
Right. So the more you're sitting on a chair, the less you're able to connect to who you really are. And that's really deep.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's really, really deep. It's really, really deep, but it makes perfect sense. Your body is like, it's like an antenna, right? Your whole body is like an antenna. So when you're out in nature, between your hair and the soles of your feet and your natural skin, that's how you interact with nature. Nature is spirit. We are spirit. All of these things, we're spirit. So the more you put on clothes, put on shoes, you know, cover your head, and right, and you're sitting inside on a chair, and you're on a screen, you're detaching from what you naturally are. And the more you do that, the more you watch Netflix, the more you do these things, it slowly pulls you out of the spirit. And after 40, 50 years, something's wrong. But it's like, well, what do I do now? Start sitting on the floor and eating outside? Like, it's you kind of, it's
one
kind
thing
of,
at a time.
yeah, it's like a dead end. So people feel like it's too late for me now. You know what I mean? And then
the only time it's too late is when you have no energy left in your body.
Right. It's hard to start over. I think there's a lot of people who are like, I've talked to so many people who retired and stuff. I'm like, what do you do all day? Do you go to the gym? They're like, the gym. Like, it's like people believe it's literally too late. Like, and that's a part of the freedom that the podcast is talking about. Like, help each other. Like, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on the spirit,
Totally.
But yeah, a lot of
it goes hand in hand with a lot of the mental health issues that are going on in the world.
Absolutely. We're living like it's too late, and it's never too late, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so in terms of next steps,
it's never too late for love.
Seriously, you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else.
That's where it starts.
If you're not feeling love for yourself, why am I gonna go climb over my own dead body to go help someone else? Love is basically experiencing spirit. If you're experiencing spirit, you connect to it, you embrace it, it embraces you. Like, that's what love is. And love is never dead. It does live within us.
Yes.
It's
the most powerful energy in the universe.
Exactly. That's
it's the highest vibration,
Yeah. Right now I
it goes through everything, man.
I go to a church.
Cuts through it.
It's called Stonehill. It's at the top of the hill up here on Drive.
Okay.
How do you feel about church?
Church, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, to connect to people, experience love, community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Yeah. Have you been going to church? Do you want to go?
I have my own practices.
Yeah.
I used to go to church a whole lot.
Yeah.
I have my own practices that I hold sacred, and really connects me to spirit and to the world. I think if I was able to integrate that some way into, church,
yeah.
And I'm about it.
Sunday morning, 9:00.
Yeah, I'd come.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm inviting you. I think if you have a real community, you should be actively inviting people who are interested.
Totally.
And I recently just started going to Stonehill, and the reason why I feel like they're trying. And when I say trying, meaning I've been to a lot of churches that I felt were dead, and not dead in a bad way, but dead in the sense of, okay, sermons at 9, it ends at 11, and everyone's out the building by 11:30. Like, to me, that's not church. Church is a living community. So you should be interacting with church on throughout the week, all the time. Like, church is like the communal home for your community. That to me is what church is. And if you're only there for 2 hours and you're rushing out, that's not real church. That's dead, if you ask me. So I'm not even talking about the religion now. You could have the right religion, but if you're not practicing communal with your faith community, something's wrong. That's dead.
Yeah.
So I feel like Stonehill is really trying to challenge that and push that. And I'm not saying that they're that much better, but I think they're trying. So yeah, I'm giving them a shot. And I tend to push the boundaries of the church, because on paper, it's just like the Constitution and all of these things. They say the right things, but when you look at the practical, it's not there. So they need people to kind of hold them accountable, push them into the work,
Yeah.
And I try that.
It starts with ourselves.
Right, exactly.
We have to hold ourselves accountable.
Exactly.
Because then we'll hold each other accountable.
Yes. And communal living helps us hold ourselves accountable.
Yes.
To have someone else to kind of say, Alexi, didn't you say you were doing that thing? Where is it at? I wanted to start this podcast years before I did, and I just had to be accountable.
Well, I'm glad you started it, man.
Yeah. To me, it's very powerful. Like, conversations like this, I always have them. Like, I'm a thinker and I'm trying to connect the dots, and I talk to people, and when I hear their input to my thoughts and my input to their thoughts, I was like, wow, I wish I had captured that. I think someone else could have benefited from that. So yeah, that's why I do what I do.
Right on, man.
Yeah. Do you want to leave us with anything? Play another one and get us kicked out of here.
All right. Play a short little one. Let's see if I can remember the words. I just wrote this yesterday. Sorry. Mother Nature knows it's bound to run its. I was like,
take your time.
Mother Nature knows she's bound to run her course. Mountain water flows straight from the source. Roots like veins, spirit still remains. In the void of all illusion lies a wild force. Something like that. Mother Nature knows she's bound to run her course. Down water flows straight from the source. Roots like veins, spirit but remains. In the void of all illusion lies a wild force. Yeah. I got some work to do.
One more, come on, give us another one. Take your time if you're ready, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, listen, I think you got it, man. I think lyrically in the music, I feel it. And I feel like that's also like, I've been looking for music for my podcast too.
Right
I think
on.
I could use, if you don't mind, like an intro or something,
Sure, I could write something up for you.
Yeah, like even that piece is great, man.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm all about it, man. I'd love
to work something out.
Yeah, I wish I could see the future, man, because I want to live amongst people that get it. I want to live amongst. I want to do this work, and I want to live holistically. That's the word,
Yeah.
And you can't change the whole world. Meaning, like, within your lifetime, you're not gonna fix the whole planet. But my goal is in the near future to live holistic, live off the land, eat holistic, just have those relationships, and just like when I wake up in the morning, I feel good and I'm not worried about being shot by the cops or, the news media. And like, I want to just be a few steps away from that, not be away from technology, but just away from that secular world that we talked about, just,
Yeah.
I want to be in a community where we all get it. And
It's coming.
yeah, and I think, I don't want to have to move away. I want to be still in near the outside world. I don't want to move away, but I want to be in a communal living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, dude, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll play that one. I'll play that one more time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Kind of fumbled up the lyrics a little bit.
Take your time.
Mother Nature knows she's bound to run her course. Mountain water flows straight from her source. Roots like veins, the spirit but remains. In the void of all illusion lies a wild force.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, I gotta write some more lyrics for that
Yeah,
one.
man. The other one was really good too. Yeah, I felt it, man.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I felt it.
Much love. I feel it too, dude.
Yeah.
I've always felt the music, Life is music. It's like
For real.
everything is vibrations. And
Yeah. All right.
I
Are
love-
we good? Did we touched on everything you felt?
Yeah, man, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Save it for next time.
yeah, sounds good, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Peace.